Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. And it is certainly warm again, to the point where I actually remembered that I had shorts. Completely forgot I even brought them with me, thinking they would not be necessary. But yeah, the hot weather kind of rolled in last week in major ways, and here we are now. It's actually alright now because I'm actually recording this way later on in the day, after the choir rehearsal. Significantly after, actually. It was several hours ago. But that was the only thing that I had going on today, because officially speaking, my contract with the school has finalized. And not only that, but also another thing has wrapped up as well. The welding project that I thought was going to take me up until the 18th. So it's been kind of a chaotic week, despite the fact that it's also been a very relaxing one as a result of not having the timetables. So I guess to go from the beginning, the only reason that I was still going to school the same days as I was before is because those were the choir rehearsals at break were happening. As it turns out, I went to the one on Monday, and you know, that one, I think there was only two of us there actually. The thing is that a lot of them are having exams right now, so they're not really attending the breaks that they get because they're using them, you know, in that time, which makes sense. Others just forget. In fact, even today, for like the big 1 hour rehearsal that everyone shows up for usually, I was the only tenor that was there, so I had a lot of solo material to cover, I suppose. And for the songs that we're doing with three voices for our concert, I just joined the sopranos. So, you know, that's how it goes. So yeah, for the choir concert, that's still happening. They have put it one day ahead of where it was going to be originally. Originally it was going to be on the 13th, but it's now on the 12th. And again, to do with exams and such. And we have our big repertoire, which includes all the stuff that we did for our previous concerts and the contest back in March, even though we haven't rehearsed some of those since March. But also a few, well, I say a few, that's like 4 or 5 new songs that we have debuted as well. Or we are going to debut, I suppose. And they're the ones we've been mainly focusing on. So, to those of people who are going to attend such a performance, it's going to be a long one. Because, of course, the group from First Bachillerato also, because they've also got their own mini choir that they work on in classes, and so they have other material. Because actually the headmaster is also a music teacher, so he covers stuff with them. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of singing, that's for sure. Just how I like it normally. But yeah, I mean that's which makes it all the more, you know, imperative to do as many rehearsals as possible. I mean, except for the fact that, because I don't know if people remember this, but just in case you've forgotten, the break time rehearsals, the ones that happen every day, that aren't the 1 hour one, are separated by sections. Because I'm the joker, I've been attending every single one, just in case I'm needed. And also because they also rehearse during music classes, which I obviously don't have, so you know, it also helps me catch up in that aspect as well. But yeah, from there, basically, they what I was going to say now. But yeah, like the director told me that because I showed up to the soprano rehearsal on Tuesday, and then he said, okay, we're not doing a rehearsal today, nor are we doing others at you know, at break times for this week. He didn't mention next week. But it's implied that we're not doing them next week based on the arrangements that we've made. Although if that is the case, that means that we have one more rehearsal right before we perform. So I'm pretty sure the 12th is exactly a week from now. Oh wait, no it isn't. What? No, the 12th is Thursday, so we're just going to rehearse in the venue on Wednesday and then get used to things, I suppose. Is my understanding. I might have to consult that again. I don't know. But yeah, little did the director know that, of course, you know, I'm only showing up for choir now, but on Tuesday I didn't know that yet, because backtracking back to the welding project, that was another thing. The welding project, I guess I can talk about it now. It was meant to be a film. So I thought, you know, from the end of May to, you know, the 18th, when we were told that our grades would be submitted, that, so I just paid the sprinklers, make sure I don't get splashed. I don't mind getting splashed myself, but obviously, you know, phone. Yeah, so, no, I lost my train of thought again. Yeah, so the welding project, yeah, so that was the idea. Then we were told, or at least the welding teacher was told, that there needed to be some form of grading by the 3rd of June, rather than the 18th, I guess, so that not everything is graded at once. So that put us in a bit of a tight spot, because we had budgeted our time. Admittedly, it was already very limited anyway, because, you know, obviously you want to make films in a particular order and such. I also divided like roles into script writers and such, which then the welding teacher said, no, you're all going to be script writers. I want you to all write something in English. And then, even though it was a speaking assessment, so that was just so that people weren't like getting bored in class and not doing anything. They could have provided ideas, I suppose, for the script writers, but that's another thing. Some of them really took to this, by the way. Like, one of them really got invested in trying to, like, going from like the very beginning and trying to craft as much of a story as possible, even though other scenes were assigned to other people and there was no crossover during the time that they were preparing, nor did they work on it after hours like they were supposed to. So, not ideal in that sense. But even then, as it turns out, because we had such limited time, we had to like start recording pretty much then and there. So we rapidly finished scenes that didn't necessarily tie completely together, weren't fully structured in some way, just with the idea that people would actually, you know, speak like at least one line during those times. So we had people multi-rolling the characters originally meant to be for one person rather than like a bunch of extras, because I'm signed up for being actors. Then there was inconsistency in terms of like how we're going to handle the ghosts, what was going to be said via narration, because some of them thought that saying the stage directions was a good idea, which I heavily argued against, but they had narrator lines instead. Some of them actually like did a summary of the whole story, and I had to tell them 3 times not to read that out because it didn't work. And then it turns out then that we didn't have enough time to actually put the movie together. We were going to originally use the editing suite in the school to put it together, but again, since we had no time, there had to be separate scenes, which never got mounted into a full project. So that was very much dead in the water. Yeah, it was a mess, but I did ask the teacher about the grades afterwards, and he said I was generous. Not overly generous, but generous. I was like, well, given the circumstances, I can absolutely see that. We also have one person sign up for director as well. But yeah, again, he wasn't around for all the scenes, so that ended up not having much in the way of direction or rehearsal time. They also didn't learn their lines. Normally we think, okay, you just like, you know, learn them quickly before the scene and then, you know, go. But because they were in English, it was an extra step for them, so yeah. I never got to see the final videos, so I guess only the teacher knows for sure what everything came to be in the end. But yeah, I guess that at least is, you know, off everyone's chests now. It's done and dusted. And it also means that I could cancel my Airbnb reservation, because obviously they decided to stay abruptly at the end of at the end of my you know, rental contract. Was another thing that that came as a surprise to the landlady. So yeah, I talked to her. I said, you know, is there a chance I can stay during this time to the 13th? Because I thought it was when the concert was. Like, oh yes. When I found about the 18th thing for the welding project, then she panicked a little bit, because apparently she has a whole dedicated like team that she hires to, you know, clean the places and such. Which does make sense, because no matter what I do to those walls, they still look disgusting when you look closely. I mean, from a distance they're fine, but because I guess of like, I don't know, just general humidity or something, they always end up looking somewhat moldy in some places, even if they're not really. But yeah, essentially, if you it's essentially like you know those like SpongeBob close-ups you have, where it's like like that. Yeah, basically that. Even still saying I had something on my lip. There you go. Like, that's why habit detail is not always the best. You end up discovering that you have a dry lip, and adjusting for it. I don't know. Is it gone? It's gone. Yeah, it's fine now. So yeah, that's you know, obviously, you know, to use one example. So yeah. So I got that, but yeah, I ended up like calling her while I was at the school, or well, she asked me to call her to, you know, go over details and stuff, and she did seem very stressed about it. I wasn't trying to do that. I was just asking, you know, could I stay? If the answer was no, so be it. I can find somewhere else. It's like on the phone, she just seemed like it was like I was putting like all the pressure on her, which is not my intention. I just clarified, saying like, okay, well, if this can't be, then it can't be. I understand that. We'll go from there. She ended up saying that I could stay until the 13th, under the same contract when I got drafted of a contract, because, you know, she had no issues with me. So, you know, I was always a very diligent tenant. So, so she was fine with just extending that, and just kind of like, you know, adding, you know, additional charges on top and whatever. You know, we sorted it out basically. I actually talked to her yesterday, because one thing that I had to do sometimes, like every 2 months, is like take a photo with like an app on her phone, and then like it reads like the meter or something, and that's like part of the thing for like the company, that something, whatever. And yeah, she clarified that she was stressed not because I was putting like undue pressure on her, well, it's not exclusively anyway, but because she just didn't want me to have to make emergency plans. She wanted that because, you know, she was a nice person like that, and wanted to make sure that I was in the best situation, not being, you know, charged a fortune for a rapid Airbnb or whatever else would be going on, you know that kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, I totally understand that, and you're in luck, because I no longer require that, and I just cancelled the reservation by complete coincidence on that same day, because I got the confirmation. See, going back to like the Tuesday situation, so director told me that that we were going to rehearse, so I left, and then after that, I just waited in the teacher's lounge for a bit, and there was one other thing I had to do on that Tuesday, which was I promised the welding teacher that I would show up to that particular class to see, you know, who was there, what was going on, because he was convinced that because they weren't required to come in after the hand-in of the grades, that they wouldn't. Well, they wouldn't. There were quite a few of them that were there, actually, more than I expected. So yeah, we all waited outside, but then the welding teacher came towards us and said, like, "What are you doing here? Go home." They asked about some grades and such, but said you should have received them. So then they left. I asked him about the grades. He told me what he told me before. I mentioned that earlier. And that was that. So So that was my confirmation that I was not required for anything else aside from the choir. So now I basically, I'm basically as close to being done as I could be at this stage. And to be honest, wrapping up with the choir performance is also a bit more poetic, I think, compared to anything else. So yeah, relatively happy, but also, you know, kind of assimilating that I've got basically just over a week before leaving. And also my parents are coming in sooner as well to help with stuff, so yeah, it's like it's a bit more of a march than expected. I originally gave myself up until, like, I asked for the original contract to run out on the 4th to give me time after, you know, after everything, so I didn't have to, like, immediately leave as soon as my work visa expired. And I guess I'm now back on the 90 days, so to speak, which is great because we're coming back here pretty soon for our annual Galician holiday, so it's not going to make much of a difference after all. But yeah, we got a wedding beforehand, so that's exciting. So yeah, it's yeah, it was something. And that's basically what's been going on during that time. And also, you know, my last lesson was also quite poetic because it was because it was with one of the groups that a lot of people like in that group are in the choir, but they also that was like the one lesson I had with them because they had exams those other times. It's the one that I used to say that I had too many classes with them so quickly because in comparison to the others, which I didn't have any. That was before the welding timetables shifted, and that was, you know, a whole different thing. But yeah, we went outside because it was boiling in the room, and you know, they did the activity kind of like around in a circle story time wise rather than regular presentation. At the end, the teacher 2 said, "Oh, I've got no more classes. This is your last class with me, right?" I said, "This is my last class in general." I hadn't announced it to anyone, you see. And then he said, you know, "Well, thank you very much." The students all applauded me, actually, which I was grateful for, especially considering that some of them didn't really partake in the activities that I'd done over the months. So I thought they didn't actually like what I prepared. They liked me well enough, but yeah. One of them actually, the one who really likes Harry Potter, actually, she actually said, like, "Are you, like, are we going to still see you in choir, right?" Like, "Yes." "Oh, so not saying goodbye to you completely." So yeah, just to reassure. She came up to me after rehearsal today, actually, and asked me if I'd seen the new characters with no context. Bear in mind, we were both wearing, you know, our Harry Potter shirts, so it was like we only own one pair each, but like one shirt each. No, we don't. We own more. Anyway, we're both wearing examples of Harry Potter shirts. And that's like most of what we talk about. I knew what she meant. She meant like the new casting, the new actors. And I said, I've seen their faces on sort of like thumbnails, but I want to keep it as a surprise. Reason being, because, I mean, bear in mind, when I first watched the Harry Potter movies, I had no idea who anyone was. I don't think actually, I'm bad at recognizing celebrities at you know, regular times anyway, but most of the time, you know, the reason I know a bunch of those, you know, household names that were in the series to begin with was because of that series. I must mention, of course, she's referring to the casting of the new Golden Trio, and that also, again, they were a complete surprise. I want to keep that same essence. Not that I have an HBO subscription, but we'll see what's going on there. We'll see what happens when the time arrives. But yeah, I want to have as much of a blank slate as I possibly can going into it. That's why I've been avoiding, you know, a bunch of any of the news stories about it, or, you know, the controversies regarding whatever changes they've already announced or something. I don't know. So, yeah, that's why. That's why I haven't talked about it. Probably will not talk about it until it is a thing and I have seen the thing. And then we all did one last part where we practiced our singing exit while actually exiting the room, which is why I didn't ask about the break time rehearsals for next week. So that's going to be a text I have to send the director at some other point. But oh well, for the sake of drama and showmanship, it was perfect. We also went outside and rehearsed one of our songs outside, to the dismay of the people waiting to go inside by the door. I couldn't tell if they actually were enjoying it or not because we were kind of facing a different direction. I do like how we kind of like all like instinctively made a semicircle facing towards them, but then the director said otherwise. It's like, or everyone's trying to figure out, okay, yeah, but wait, if the person if the bongo player is over here, shouldn't we be there? And I said, yeah, but the audience is over there. But yeah, I don't know. They just kind of wanted to go inside. They didn't applaud us or anything. They just they got laid in as soon as afterwards, and then I asked if that was good for them, but they said hello back. So, you know, classic interaction with me trying to speak to them in English. Yeah, so yeah, pretty fanciful, and that's not even talking about the stuff that's happened, you know, on the internet itself. Because yeah, obviously new Aphmau song dropped. That was something I was working on basically after the video of Murder Phoenix Drop High came out. I was like, oh well, this, because we made a couple of jokes about it on actual stream, but the more I thought about it, the more it actually like aligned completely with the song of Hatchet Town. So I was like, okay, I gotta test this, because I mean there was another song that had been recorded. Actually, I recorded the lines for it. I wasn't happy with how it turned out. I don't think my vocals were the best on that particular day, so just as well, I guess, and I surprised Aiden completely by shifting it over, which was a double-edged sword because it meant that he didn't know that I'd written the lyrics in the Google Doc that we use specifically for writing those lyrics. So he was unaware that they were there and just kind of like going by what he could interpret from the audio with no captions, which is great. So the fact was that like there were ensemble bits that were somewhat hard to distinguish depending on the moments. That's on me for, you know, enunciation purposes. I think I'm probably going to turn around. Now I get to the next bridge. Yeah, why not? But yeah, I mean, that's probably, I mean, I think that's the best received video out of the Aphmau songs that Aiden and I have been working on for our monthly succession. Partly, I guess, because it was, you know, a new thing, but also because some people from the Star Kid fandom definitely found it, based on what the usernames of the people commenting consisted of. Because yeah, I mean, while it hasn't actually received as many views as the Reese song, it has 17 comments right now. Take out the ones that I have responded to, let's call that 8 comments, compared to the 1 comment that is on the other video, which is Aiden saying "uwu" to boost the algorithm. So yeah, and with that, Aiden now wants to do more Star Kid parodies in the future, which is great because now they have the sharing ad revenue aspect. I don't have to worry as much about claims as I did, you know, in bygone times. You know, better late than never, I suppose. So yeah, that's you know, fun overall. But yeah, like, as far as like what the next Aphmau song is going to be, it could be that one. We want to do something Pride Month themed, so So potentially not the one that we had prepared. But yeah, Ed and I've been working on writing other stuff, so that's another thing. But yeah, in any case, just wanted to mention that quickly. I mean, as far as the Aphmau channel goes, or as far as like My Street One Last Time goes, I should say, I was not expecting 4 days after the Murder Figures Drop High video for another upload to come about in the form of top 10 My Street's season 3 scenes voted by you and me. But yeah, so yeah, because that short was several months ago. They didn't update about it in some time, so yeah, just was kind of shadow dropped. There's a potential that they could have been just finished around the same time by coincidence, but that channel has so few uploads on it that unless they have a lot of content, it would make more sense for them to spread them regularly, which is why I theorized that they were either really preparing for the release of season 7 mid-2025, which is what they announced, and you know, we're here now, or they are just making sure that they have enough, let's call it filler content, in order to make their channel as relevant as possible, and then get ready to drop the episode once people are used to checking the channel, or you know, more frequently than they have been. So yeah.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Ciao.
That's one of the teachers from the school. Was not expecting to see him here. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing yet. Although, one other thing that got dropped on that channel was something that Aiden will definitely want me to talk about. So, back in 2019, obviously at the start of the Mutant Girl, I was testing out a couple of theme songs for the show. One of which was because I just watched Alita Battle Angel for my birthday. I had that in my head, so I thought, why not a Nightcall version of Swan Song by Dua Lipa? But then, of course, that got copyrighted, and there was no shared revenue then. So let me tell you, that was not going to work out. But yeah, aside from that, aside from that, yeah, it wasn't a good idea. So then I went to Epidemic Pop and looked around for, you know, a couple of ones that would kind of work. And then I came across Lifeline, you know, by Lively or possibly Lovely. It's LVLY. Could be either one actually. Featuring Emmy, and that was the one. That was the one I went with. Second choice, and and since that, but I picked it specifically because I thought, hey, this is the kind of song that Aphmau would choose at some point. It definitely it definitely fits with the theme songs of the different seasons of My Street. So, you know, with that in mind, seems perfect. And you know, a couple of days ago, you know, 6 years down the line, I was proven right, because Aphmau chose that song for the background of a short, which I assume is just a clip from a longer episode, during which she was seen in her side stories outfit, as identified by Aiden, carrying a box and wearing a cloak over the outfit. Apparently missing the shoes involved in it, but again, you know, details and such. And that was basically mirroring the way that Gareth approached the Aphmau and Aaron's house in the first episode of My Street Side Stories, when that actually first started, during which they played D&D. And now that's made us excited for various reasons. One of which, of course, is because now we know about D&D. It's going to be even more interesting. Also, because like Aiden was going to say, oh no, now people are going to think that the Mutant Girl, you know, stole the the song from Aphmau. It's like, well, I mean, probably not, because unless there's like on new uploads of like the remix and such, because it's been long enough that people can backtrack and see that it was very much not used for that. So, you know, we're good in that regard. Probably. I just find it more fascinating that I was actually right to begin with, that the song that Aphmau would indeed choose, and she chose it. So, yeah. What else? So yeah, D&D, the song, and also that apparently Aphmau is taking over the role that Gareth originally had and becoming the DM herself, which does kind of remind me a lot of the Aphmau Storytime videos that she used to do with the Sky Media folks, which, you know, is another thing, because obviously those things I go back and watch all the time, but, you know, after learning about D&D, it kind of seemed like they were actually they were actually, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it felt very similar to how someone like, you know, like Legend of Vantress, like, you know, will derail the prompts that they're given, even though it was a story that was like written out. They were given the chance to improv over it, so it was kind of a little bit of like a half and half situation. And of course, with them physically being there in Minecraft to act these things out to begin with. So there's that. So yeah, for all those reasons, I'm very intrigued about it. I don't know when it's going to come back. That channel could upload something, you know, 4 days after another video, like the top 10 season 3 moments, or they could upload the full thing after several months of the short existing, and people basically forgetting about it entirely up at that point, like the top 10 season 3 moments. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but it does seem like if they could bring back the side stories using a similar Minecraft aesthetic that they used before, with admittedly like a bit of faster camera work, now I think about it, then, you know, more power to them, because that will bring back the nostalgia. It also won't affect them stressing out over visuals, because that was the thing that Aphmau was concerned about, how to top season 6 visually. That's the first thought that she had. And to some extent I can see, because, like, you know, Maestro's always been at the forefront of Minecraft roleplays, even back when the standard was pulled back. It was like spearheading that process. Aside from, we could probably argue, you know, old animations, like, you know, the stuff that Element Animation and Slammer Cow and people of that era were doing. But yeah, aside from that, who is to say? Stuff has moved on so much since then. I mean, even things like Foxaline Queen by Ovek have translated like what movement was even possible, you know, at the time. But they had the experience to incorporate and capture those things and work around some of the issues that they had at a previous point. So I wonder what new mods they've been working on for their, you know, for their custom stuff, because that was part of a method that, you know, obviously Jason programmed a lot of stuff himself. But what else? Because Aphmau used to be known as the Mod Queen back in the day, and she knew all about just all of these different mods, and that was like part of her branding, and eventually that got again used in role plays. So it was a little bit of a mixed baggage in that regard. So it could go many directions. I mean, even if the side stories aren't going to be spearheading, you know, they won't be fully animated like season 7 is promised to be, it will still be something. It will still be above, I assume, what the average was back in the day, aside from maybe, again, the animation moments in seasons 4 and 6. So yeah, very exciting times, I think. So, I mean, and we'll be sure to cover some of that stuff, and maybe spear some of our Aphmau content, both reviews and songs alike, towards some of those things as well. Branch out a little bit from just my street into some other territories. We shall see. But for now, please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.